All right. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Atlanta Falcons. And why are the Atlanta Falcons 0-16? Because they suck. They had the biggest juke job ever in Super Bowl history. Never won a Super Bowl. The Atlanta Falcons suck. They do. They really suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching this replay of this, thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But also, instead of me rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free. Fire away. Throw in the chat box. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. Description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you all. But if you're not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share it. That would be freaking awesome. Finally, a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one on top, the one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change, right? I'm one of them old-time farts. When I'm get off my lawn type of old-time farts. The one underneath it, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It'll always be Twitter. It's Twitter to me. Yeah. I said, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand that change and all that stuff and everything. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. So if you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. All right. And then finally, the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants to Gridiron. We have over 8,100 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants to Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, all that stuff said and done and done away with. Well, Tony Pauline, he's one of those draft guys. We're very thankful for him and many of the other guys, because like I said, these guys, they trade their lives. And that's what they're doing, and I'm very thankful for that, right? They spend 700 hours a day just staring at film, 1,700 days a year, just watching, they know, the 37-string guard for Tennessee Tech State University, A&I School of the Blind, they know everything about everybody coming out. And once again, I'm very thankful for that because once again, they trade their lives for it. So people like me, I can, yeah. Take their knowledge and, and sprinkle it in here and there and all. But Tony Pauline, as I said, I don't even know how he's old. He's been doing this for a long, long time. He seems to think like if the Giants were to trade up in the draft, Maye's the man. Now, once again, I'm not sure, if they do, it would have to be, I don't even know. I'd have a real hard time believing that the Commanders would even trade with the Giants. They need a quarterback, very good quarterback class. And if they fall in love one of these other guys, right? As I said, doesn't mean you got to grab one in the first round. You can grab somebody in the second round. I mean, they might fall in line with somebody else. Who knows? But I mean, I'd have a hard time believing that the Giants and the Commanders would work out a trade. Flip flopping, meaning like the Commanders are going to let the Giants trade up to number 2. They're not drafting a punter at number 2. They're not grabbing a water boy. Got a news flash for you. They're going from 6 to 2. Guess what? You know what position they're going for. So, I mean, for the Giants to trade up, I mean, whatever they'd have to give up would be quite a pretty penny, though, too. But, I mean, for the Commanders to fall back to number 6, plus collect some extra draft capital from the Giants, I mean, for the Giants to jump up to draft a quarterback that might wind up kicking Washington's butt for the next 15 seasons or whatever, 10 years, whatever. So I have a hard time, believing that. The one thing you could look at, right, is from Washington's point of view, is once again, you don't have to draft a quarterback. I mean, unless they, fall in love one of these other quarterbacks not named Caleb Williams, right? Because he's probably not going to be there. I mean, if they fall in love with one of these other guys, if they think Daniels is the guy or Maye is the guy or something like that, they should do whatever it takes to get him. Meaning, don't trade back. If he's there, grab the guy. It's not going to cost you nothing, right? It's not like you got to jump up or anything like that. You're at number 2, very conveniently at number 2, right? Commanders stay where they're at, take the guy, and just move on. Right. I said the only one thing would be like if you really wanted to, I said you don't have to grab a quarterback in the first round or top, but But I said from the Commanders' point of view, you can almost kind of look at it. It's like, Giants, you want to talk some turkey? Yeah, let's see. It's going to cost you pick 6. It's going to cost you 2 other first rounders, and let's see what else we want. So, if the Giants are well, that's a lot, but maybe number 3. So that would have to wind up being, once again, I mean, or, I would have to trade up with the Patriots, or unless something were to happen where you had Caleb Williams went 1, Daniels went 2, and for some reason McCarthy went 3. Or if the Patriots took Harrison Jr. or Alt, right? Who knows? But so the Giants would jump up with the Cardinals because they're open for business, I'm sure. To jump back, right? Because they don't need a quarterback, right? And neither does number 5 either, right? And the thing I was saying, I've said this before, is what would behoove the Cardinals. I said, once again, that's the Giants, the guy falls there at number 4, Giants are in love with, right? And I'm sure they can possibly make a trade with, the Cardinals. And I said, what would behoove the Cardinals would be, if they fall back just 2 spots, they're going to get themselves, and as I said, I mean, probably, quite possibly. First 3 picks, quarterbacks. If somebody trades with the Cardinals at number 4, once again, it's not for a punter. It's not for a backup water boy. Okay? We know what it's for, right? That's great for them. Because that means that before picks off the board, they're all quarterbacks. The Cardinals are not looking for a quarterback. So when they move back just 2 spots, they're going to have their pick of one of the top 2 wide receivers, because probably one of them might be, maybe you don't even know. Actually, you don't even know. Harbaugh can take Alt, take a tackle. Now, of course, unless the Cardinals wanted Alt, right? But the thing is, I'm saying, is that, they might want to give Murray somebody to throw the ball to, right? So, I mean, just say, I'm just throwing out there. 1 or 2 scenarios, right? So if the Cardinals move back to number 6, Harbaugh takes Alt. So the Cardinals jump back to number 6, 2 spots, collect extra draft capital, and they still get their pick of the wide receivers. No brainer, right? Or, right, just say, right, they move back 2 spots. Harbaugh takes Harrison Jr., just saying that. Then that opens up. They can take a alt if they want to. They can take a left tackle, plug and play left tackle for the next 10 seasons. Or they can have a Dunzier, right? They could have Neighbors, right? Go back 2 spots, collect extra draft capital, and still have a stud there for him. I mean, now that's, that would really behoove the Cardinals, right? But I mean, once again, it's going to be one of those things that, the Giants are going to have to sit there and wait until draft night and see what happens. I mean, they're not doing this stuff now. I mean, unless they fell in love, once again, with Maye, and for some reason they wanted to trade with tried to work out a trade with the Commanders. They could certainly do that now, because I'm sure nobody is getting the Bears to budge from number 1, especially since they just got rid of Fields. Okay, the Bears ain't budging, right? So, he said if anything happens, it'll be draft night, right, for the most part. But so they said Tony Pauline seems to think that if the Giants do jump up for a quarterback, he said he kind of seems to think that Maye is the man. Says Drake Maye absolutely the Giants' target if they trade up from number 6. Tony Pauline said that. NFL Draft Insider offers Big Blue View insights on a numbers Giants-related draft topics. If the Giants... I want to make sure I share my screen here. There we go. All right. Now we're talking. As I said here, right? Drake Maye absolutely the Giants' target if they trade up from number 6, Tony Pauline. If the Giants are going to make a dramatic move up for a quarterback in the draft, insider Tony Pauline believes Drake Maye of North Carolina would absolutely be the Giants' target. Wow. He checks so many boxes as far as the Giants system is concerned. He's a big passer. He's got a decent arm. He can withstand the rush. He's not a super RPO quarterback like J.J. McCarthy. But he can get outside the pocket and make the throw on the move, Pauline said on Valentine's View's show. I think he's being a little undervalued at this point in time. Maye did not have a great final season in North Carolina, but Pauline pointed out that when the season began, there was a debate as to whether he or Caleb Williams of USC would be the number 1 overall pick. The Josh Allen comparison is also obvious. When Giants general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll were with Buffalo, the team traded up twice to select Allen at number 7. That despite Allen's rocky final season at Wyoming and questions about his accuracy. Josh Allen played his best football the year prior to him entering the draft, and he struggled that last year as a junior at Wyoming, and Daboll and Schoen were able to turn him around. So why not Drake Maye, Pauline said. The Giants would consider it if there was a quarterback such as Maye or J.J. McCarthy available at number 6, but Pauline said he isn't ready to say it is definitely time for the Giants to prepare for a post-Daniel Jones era. I think that you can't answer that question because their offensive line was so bad last year. They have a premier left tackle who was down with injury. Evan Neal has not lived up to his expectations. They were breaking in a rookie center who played better as the year went along, Pauline says. I was not a huge Daniel Jones fan where and when the Giants drafted him all those years ago, but I think it's an incomplete grade, and I think even though they've made some moves in free agency to hopefully shore up the unit, I don't think that just drafting a quarterback at number 6 is going to be the answer. I think more than anything else, they really shore up their offensive line. Yeah, I mean, it's true, right? It's true. They have to do something with that offensive line. Let's hope Carmen Basillo can work some magic. Right? And I said, we don't even need, if we can get a top 10 unit, man, put me in for that. But, can we get to the middle of the row? Can we get to 16? I mean, that's not, we put some, we got 2 first-round tackles. We got a second-round center. I don't know if Azudu is going to make it, but we drafted him in the 3rd round as a guard. And we've invested heavily on this offensive line, and it is not paying off dividends. That is for sure. But Pauline also suggests, too, another thing here. Now, he says there's legitimate concerns about Brian Daboll. Pauline and I discussed the notion that the Giants might not be a stable situation for a rookie quarterback to learn and thrive. Pauline said there are legitimate concerns about Daboll's future in New York, and pointed out that he was writing about strife inside the Giants coaching staff before the bombastic report by Jay Glazer of Fox Sports about issues between Daboll and now former Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. I think the concern about how long is Daboll going to be there is a legitimate one, Pauline said. I wrote an article back in November saying that there was a good chance Martindale and Mike Kafka were out, and that there were issues with Daboll's approach. It's absolutely true. He's got to show that he can change his approach. And if he does, I think there's a good chance. I think there'll be good things for the Giants. Now, that's something, obviously, I'm sure, it's been talked about, and it's something that you can certainly, improve on. I'm sure it's not easy, especially when you're a fiery competitor and all. It's not always easy to tamper that stuff down and everything, But I mean, some you also have to look at it too. Is it like, once again, it's football. It's a passionate, emotional game. So I mean, some of it might be on, Daboll, but other of it's, some of it's on the other guys too. I mean, but some guys can handle, the heat, and some guys can't. And maybe Wink Martindale. I'm not saying he couldn't handle the heat, but he might be like an alpha male as well too. When you get alpha male and alpha male butting heads, it's not good. But I mean, Daboll doesn't also likewise not want to wind up scaring off other people too. But I mean, he has a good concern there too. Is that like if the Giants were to just jump up or to take Maye, right? Especially if it's going to cost them some draft capital, right? And they're like, and Daboll's like, I'll tell you what, we get this, whoever it is, Daniels, McCarthy, whoever, Annie M, Toto, whoever, right? If Daboll's like, I think I get my hands on this guy, I think we got something here. You know what I mean? So, nothing worse, right, is that they draft a quarterback, and then, something goes wrong. The Giants have a bad season or whatever, and Daboll, goes down the tubes and he's out of there. Then the new coach comes in, and there's Daniel Jones, and here's a quarterback we just drafted. There you go. Those are your quarterbacks. And the new coach coming in is like, those aren't my guys. I'm not going down with the Titanic with those guys. Yeah, sorry. I need somebody else in there. So then the Giants pick the quarterback and pick 6 of, the 2019 draft, and then they take a quarterback in the 2023 class or 2024 class, and then they have a new coach coming in 2025 who's going to want to draft another quarterback. It's like, that's you can't keep, replacing, coaches every 2 years, every 3 years, or whatever it is. I said, because if you guys, I said this before, if you go back to 2014. Okay, because the 2024 season hasn't started yet. Now, of course, unless something unbelievably horrible happens to Daboll, like, health-wise or something like that, he's going to be the coach, obviously, for this season, for the 2024. But we've only played the 2023 season. So if you go back to the 2014 You go from 2014 to 2023. That's 10 seasons. Okay. We've had 5 coaches. Each one's lasted 2 seasons. Now, of course, a little ridiculous of me to say that because Coughlin was around well before that. I'm just saying, go back to past 10 seasons, right? We've had 5 coaches. 2014 and 15 was Coughlin, right? 16 and 17, McAdoo didn't even last the whole, right? Spagnuolo played, was it the last 3 games or 4 games of the 17 season, right? So I guess we actually even had another coach in there, but, right? But then 16, 17, 18, 19, right, was Shermer. 2021 was Judge. 22, 23 is Dable. So, I mean, and that's not a recipe for success. Somewhere along the line, you have to bite the bullet. And, it's not always going to turn out like a Parcells. Remember, he was 3-12-1 his first season. Things were looking bad. It was like it was a good chance they were trying to maybe get rid of him. Young was going to get rid of him. But he ultimately decided to keep him around. And thankfully, in 84, turned it around. The Giants got to the playoffs. Obviously, 84, 85, 86. Giants went to the playoffs. So thankfully they kept him, for his second season, right? So sometimes you got to bite the bullet, right? Sometimes it's not always, the coach's fault. So, but Paul, he brings up some good concern. I mean, you don't want to draft a quarterback, right? And if you wind up thinking the coach may not be there, especially it's like if it's the coach is like a quarterback whisperer, let's take this guy, I think I can work with him. Okay, cool. So Dable's working with him. And at the end of the season, Dable's gone. It's like, what do we do now? So he's got a good concern. But Tony Pauline, as I said, he's very, very knowledgeable with this. The draft, he's changed his life watching film, right? So he knows everything. So apparently he thinks that the Giants trade up from number 6 into the top, whatever, 3 or 4. It's for Drake Maye, and obviously that's not going to happen until draft night because they're not trading the number 3 right now for Drake Maye because the Commanders might take him. Then all of a sudden, Jaden Daniels there, and I'm just saying, I have no idea. I'm saying Jaden Daniels there at number 3, the Giants traded up, and they're like, this ain't the guy we want. They're kind of screwed. So, all right, what do we got? I do think there is still something there that makes Dable worth the ride. Consider Josh. I'll tell you, he did a wonderful job with Josh Allen. That's for sure. And I mean, Josh Allen was certainly not the most polished guy coming out. They were saying he had big time issues coming out of Wyoming, but it was undeniably, I guess, size, the cannon that he has of an arm. But they built a nice offense around him. Got him Stephon Diggs. He got himself a dog of a wide receiver, something Daniel Jones has not had. Hasn't looked. And Dable made the whole town go crazy for undrafted for a few games. Yeah, I mean, and now it's going to be even more interesting to say because Stephon Diggs isn't even going to be there. Because, I mean, usually like in the past, this is a good draft class for wide receivers, so the Bills might want to go out and grab themselves a wide receiver, but obviously Diggs isn't going to be there. I mean, the past few years, Diggs was always there. 4 or 5 years, whatever it was, Diggs was there. So if Allen's scrambling around or whatever, he's looking for somebody, he just finds Diggs, he just throws the ball, to him. So. But once again, Dable's done a very good job. He did a very good job. He's got a very good track record, obviously in Buffalo. And you're right. I think Allen got better numbers when Dable was there. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. Then Logan Ryan, my man, I tell you, when I saw this, kind of brought me back a little bit here. I gotta share my screen here. There we go. Captain Logan Ryan announces his NFL retirement. After 11 NFL seasons and 2 Super Bowl victories, Logan Ryan is calling it a career. 33-year-old New Jersey native and former Giants captain announced his retirement Tuesday morning on social media after the defensive back spent the latter part of the last season with the 49ers. Thank you to all my family, friends, and teammates for the guidance and support. Thanks to all the fans for watching. Won 2 Super Bowls and got out happy and healthy, which is huge. It's good for him. The healthy part is huge. And healthy to be the best father for my children. That's good too. That's extremely important. If you can be there for your children as they're growing up, that's huge. Absolutely huge. Because your kids are only going to be 7 years old one time. And once they're 8, you can't get that back. Once they're 9, you can't get 8 back. Once they're 10, you know what I mean? So if you can be there for your children and healthy and happy and all of that, and you've made some money, good for you. Good for you. Thanks again for 11 seasons. Cheers to what's next. Ryan wrote on Twitter, along with a video in which he recapped his career and wore his 2 Super Bowl rings. Good for you, Logan. He's staying out of Eastern Regional High School in Voorhees, New Jersey, which is interestingly is about, I'm going to say a little more. It's maybe about 15 miles where I'm sitting at right now. Eastern, they used to play my school, Washington Township, all the time. We used to play each other back when I was in high school, back in the 80s and all that and everything. 80s and the 90s. Eastern and Washington Township used to butt heads all the time. Usually Eastern was the better team. He usually got the best of us, but he was stand out at Eastern, as I said, which is about 15 miles from where I'm sitting right here. I started at Rutgers for 3 years before he was taken by the Patriots in the 3rd round. Ryan, who had a career-high 5 interceptions as a rookie, spent his first 4 seasons in New England, where the cornerback was part of the 2 Super Bowl championship teams. In 2017, he signed a 3-year, $30 million contract with the Titans, helping them reach the divisional round in his first season with the team in the AFC Championship game in 2019 and 2020. Yep. We still got a little bit more. Ryan returned home 2020 to sign a 1-year deal with the Giants, where he shifted from corner to safety. He made an immediate impact. On Christmas Day, he received a 3-year, $31 million contract extension with $20 million guaranteed. But Ryan would only play 1 more year with the Giants as they released him in March 2022. Well, I mean, the thing was is that, after 2022 with the Buccaneers, Ryan joined the 49ers. Well, the thing was, I'm saying is here, he got released, is that, in 2022, obviously, he got brought in, with Judge, right? And that's the one thing that winds up happening, right? Judge brings these guys in and all and everything. These are Judge's guys or something, or however you want to look at it. And then the new coaching staff comes in and they're looking. It's like, Logan Ryan, it's not my guy. I don't want him. You have to get somebody to replace him. That's the one problem. Guys like that. But I'll tell you what, I've always said like this, and this is like the 2021 team, I think it is. I mean, maybe we didn't get the best results, most interceptions or most tackles or whatever in the secondary. But ever since, I've been watching football since 1970. This the 2021 secondary really got me fired up. That was a real, the talent we had there was really, I said, maybe we didn't get the most, as I said, interceptions and, pass breakups and all that stuff. I'm just saying, as far as the talent wise, I really thought that was the best that I've ever seen just since watching the Giants in over 50 years. Now, if you look here, let's see here, right? You look at this here, right? We had Dexter Lawrence, we had Leonard Williams, right? Now, unfortunately, we had Azeez Ojulari, but unfortunately, we had, Lorenzo Carter, but Tay Crowder was one of our, right? But in the secondary, we had James Bradbury and Adoree Jackson. We had 2 good cornerbacks, right? That, once again, for the Giants, that was rare to have 2 really good cornerbacks. That's rare for the Giants. But then we had Xavier McKinney, right? What do we got here? And let's see, Logan Ryan, obviously the free safety, but we also had Jabrill Peppers too. Right down here, where's he at here? He wasn't necessarily a starter, but we had Jabrill Peppers too. He played 6 games with 5 starts, right? So I mean, I said, the talent that we had back here was really, this was Xavier McKinney's second season. So he had his rookie season. He missed a bunch of time there with that broken foot. But, so this is his second season, right? And I said, then we had Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson, James Bradbury, Jabrill Peppers. I mean, the talent was very, very, just some solid, very solid secondary. It was very, very solid. Unfortunately for that, it was like that was pretty much it because Logan Ryan was, they said, was gone after the season. We didn't have enough. I mean, because that's when Gettleman was there. And, of course, he signed all these contracts. And, of course, that was James Bradbury's last season with the Giants because we couldn't afford to keep him. We were trying to find trade partners for him, right, at least to get something in return. But nobody bid on that. And everybody just waited for us to release Bradbury because they knew with our salary cap situation, right? We couldn't keep Bradbury. We had to try to trade him to somebody and get something in return, or just let him or let him go. And unfortunately, the Eagles scoffed him up. I said we saw that. I said in 2021, that was that season. Our secondary was really some very, very good talent there. The one problem, the thing I didn't like, is that with this secondary here, is that if you look right here, okay, and then of course there was Jabrill Peppers down here too, right? But I mean, we got we only drafted one guy, So between Bradbury, Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, Xavier McKinney, and Jabrill Peppers, we only drafted one guy out of those 5. It's not like we drafted these 5 guys and kept them on the team and developed them and paid them and kept them all. So the one thing is, which obviously usually is not a recipe for total disaster, but it's like when you just start bringing in free agents left and right, sometimes their talent is really, really good. And things don't always, click as best as they should, and that was the one thing, like with Gettleman. He brought in a bunch of good guys, but it just didn't want to pan it out. As I said, the shame of it was, but we had the Kenny Golladay, right? We brought Kenny Golladay in. I said, and after Gettleman left, Shane was left with a mess, especially in the salary cap department. I said, and we couldn't wind up keeping Bradbury. That was such a shame. And the thing that pissed me off once, he goes to the Eagles. But speaking of adding people, the Giants added themselves a wide receiver, right? Giants add special teams ace Miles Boykin with new kickoff rules on tap. Interesting. Giants might have found their next punt gunner in the same place that they found their previous punt returner, Steel City, right? Gunnar Olszewski, right? So thank you, Mike Tomlin, right? It's Pittsburgh. I'll tell you what, they just all they do is have winning seasons, right? Free agent kick coverage specialist Miles Boykin signed with the Giants. The team announced on Tuesday. 6'4", nice size. Receiver Boykin has just 6 catches for 34 yards over the past 3 seasons. After he was more active on offense, 32 catches, 464 yards, and 7 touchdowns during his first 2 seasons. Right? Oops. Originally 3rd-round draft pick for the Ravens out of Notre Dame, Boykin played a career-high 316 special team snaps last season. 316, that's a lot of snaps. In his last season, which was his second season with the Steelers. We'll go over that in just a second here. Boykin was teammates with Gunnar Olszewski, right, who was cut by the Steelers last season. Thank you for cutting him. Thank you. All right. but bounced back after joining the Giants in October. Olszewski re-signed with the Giants earlier this offseason after averaging 11.9 yards on 23 punt returns, one of which was brought back to the house. Right? Boykin 27 profiles as an older version of Bryce Ford Wheaton. Right? Let's not forget about him. Right? Bryce Ford Wheaton. He can come back from his injuries. Let's see what he can got. Right? 6'3" Bryce Ford Wheaton was about to make the Giants roster as an undrafted rookie last season because of his ability as a gunner. But he suffered a season-ending torn ACL in the preseason finale. A freaking shame. Now, I'll have to wait and see, right? Because usually the thing is when you're coming back from your torn ACL, usually the first season you're not 100%. I'm just throwing a number out there. You might be, 85%. Usually they say the second season you're back. You're as good, if not better than before. So if not this season, hopefully this season, but if not this season, okay, next season, Bryce Ford Wheaton should be 100%. But, I mean, he's going to go out there and compete. So let's see what he can do. And, hey, I'm all for it. He's a tall guy, tall wide receiver. So Boykin's special teams experience also could come in handy with the new NFL kickoff coverage rules that are expected to increase the number of returns, entice more speedy playmakers to join special teams, and still emphasize player safety by limiting full-speed collisions. Now, if we look here, all right, this was last season, okay, 332 total special team snaps, 86 on kick returns. He had kick coverage, 80 snaps on kick coverage, punt returns, 72, 94 on punt coverage. Right. So, he got used a lot. And you can see here, graded out 68.6. Okay. What do we got? But you can see, okay, last season was definitely by far his most as a special teamer. Okay. But in 2022, he had 206. Okay. With the Steelers graded out of 67.9, according to Pro Football Focus. But with the Ravens, right, 150, 140, 140. Right, he wasn't on field goal block. He was a little bit on punt coverage. He got used a lot on kickoff returns and kick coverage. That was mostly what he was used for with the Ravens. Nothing, didn't have super spectacular numbers there, but I said last season there, he fared pretty well. Now let's see. We go offense. What was his offensive grades here? Offense. So he only 131 total snaps last year on offense. Okay, so nothing super spectacular. You can see, with Pittsburgh, 133 in 2022. He got used his first two seasons, what they were talking about, when he had 7 touchdown receptions with the Ravens. Okay, he didn't have a boatload of receptions, as we'll see here. Right. Where are we at here? Yeah, games, receptions, 20. 20. Yeah, right. Say 2019 and 2020, right? He had 32 receptions, right? It's 7 touchdowns. Okay. But you look the past, he did not have much, right? 2021, he caught 1 pass. 2022, he caught 2 passes. 2023, he caught 3 passes. So, he was not used much in the way of receiving. Okay. But, once again, the Giants are trying to load up on some special team talent. As I said, especially now, if you start looking at the fact, like with the new kickoff return, right? Going to be a lot more returns. Quite a few more returns, and they'll be safer. Okay, but we're going to need guys out there with some speed. Okay, so if we can find somebody who's a good gunner, right, such as him, that could be very, very important. So it was a good pickup. Once again, they signed him. It doesn't mean he's making the team, right? But if he does make the team, quite possibly a lot of his contributions will be on special teams. So, right, a good signing. I'm sure it was on the cheap, right? And he's somebody who certainly, without question, can contribute, because let's not forget, right? Special teams is huge. the defense and offense it's where it's sexy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But, so maybe not always special teams doesn't get the, accolades or whatever that the other, but special teams is very, very important. I mean, if you're returning a kickoff or returning a punt, you can flip the field. Huge, right? Or if you're kicking off or you're punting and you can where they catch it is where you tackle them at, and they can't run it back. Huge. Flip side, right? If you ain't got if your special teams are horrible and you punt the ball and they run it back 35 yards, right? Horrible. So let's not forget, special teams, they say it's 1/3 of the game. It's not really 1/3 of the snaps, but it's a very, very important part of the game. Yeah. And you can see the Giants, they brought back Carter Coughlin, Darnay Holmes, right? McCann, they still got McCann, Boykin. So we're bringing in some guys, Gunnar Olszewski. We signed Casey Kreider. So we're bringing back some guys, to help the special teams out. Okay, so I think it was a very, very good pickup. All right, then we got Giants are trusting their process and leaving the NFL guessing. General Manager Joe Schoen and Coach Brian Daboll are reimagining a previously insular franchise and hoping that a whole lot of patience will soon pay off in a very big way. Ooh, what are they talking about, pray tell? It might seem like a million years ago to the rest of us, but Joe Schoen sees his boss, Buffalo Bills general manager Brandon Beane, return to the draft room on that Thursday night in April 2018 is burned into his memory and feels like it was yesterday. He says, "Trust me, we took a quarterback in Buffalo that nobody wanted. Now, the New York Giants general manager says Brandon came up from the press conference and was like, gosh, dang, you would have thought that somebody's dog died down there." Shane still has the Buffalo News from the next day in which venerable columnist Jerry Sullivan declared that Beane, Sean McDermott, and company had picked the wrong Josh. Well, no, they picked the right Josh. 6 years later, the 22-year-old tagged with that moniker is they want him to take Josh Rosen, not Josh Allen, because Josh Rosen was supposed to be like the next. He was supposed to be the next pro-ready quarterback. Josh Rosen this, Josh Rosen that, and nope. Nope, not even close. So they took Josh Allen and they took the right Josh. Let's see. 6 years later, 22-year-old tag with that moniker is among the NFL's best quarterback. He's also playing on a $258 million contract, and it has carried the Bills to 4 consecutive AFC Eastern crowns. As for the right Josh, that was Josh Rosen, who went 3 picks later at pick 10 to the Cardinals. He lasted a year in Arizona. Pick 10 lasted 1 season. What a waste of a draft pick. Wow. Bounced through seven franchises. And last was in the NFL on Minnesota Vikings practice squad in 2022. Wow. Shane keeps that newspaper as a reminder, and not because he, Beane, or McDermott, or the coach he took with him to New York, Brian Daboll, have it all figured out. For him, it's more of a reminder to trust your eyes, your ears, your research, your experience, and your gut. It was those things that led the Bills group to a franchise-changing player who, at the time, was ridiculed by scores of would-be personnel gurus on TV, radio, and social media. Go with your gut. You've been doing it for 23 years. You do all the work. You do the homework. You've been through this before. You've prepared for it. You have a good staff. Do what we know is right. Don't worry about the outside noise, Shane continued. I've known it since I was a first-year scout. I was scouting Calvin Pace. He was a Wake Forest defensive end, and I was a combine scout. You got graded where you put the guy for the league. I wasn't grading for the Panthers. I was grading for the league. I remember my boss said, "You think he's a first-round pick?" And I don't see him as a first-round pick, so I moved him to the second round. Arizona took him in the first. I was wrong on somebody else's opinion. I was right with my own. I said, I will never have happen to me again. All these years later, Shane's now with one, Shane's the one with his finger on the trigger. And for a franchise where the noise around the team always threatens to become a factor, that's just the reality of being New York. And in reimagining a previously insular Giants franchise that got stuck being run a little much like a family business over the decade prior to their arrival, both Shane and Dable have had to lean on their own resolve, like they once had in Buffalo, in a plan that they will always knew would take time. The hope now is that a whole lot of patience will soon pay off in a very big way. The thing is that they're trying to Shane, they're trying to be patient and all that and everything, and with this rebuild, if you want to call it, right. But the thing is that he's trying to be patient. Dable's trying to be patient as well too. But it's a big season for Dable. Now I'm not sure. The wheels will really if the real wheels really fell off on things, I can maybe possibly see him getting fired. But I'm not so sure that would wind up happening. But, we need to see some improvement. Hopefully we can stay healthy. I mean, because once again, if you're not staying healthy, you have a very hard time trying to win anything if you can't stay healthy. So hopefully we can get some health on our side, right? And I certainly think without question, we can at least improve on our 6 wins. And I've always keep saying this. I said, let's get our draft this season. And let's see what we do next season, because in free agency next season, we should be able to bring in, we should have a little bit of money to spend. We should be able to bring in, I'm not saying we're going to bring in another Brian Burns or something, but we should be able to go out there in free agency and bring in at least another guy or so who can plug in and fill a hole. And then let's see what we do our draft class next season. And then, we should have a pretty decent, at least starting team, right? And then let's see where we go from there. We definitely have to win more games than 6. That's for sure. Absolutely for sure. All right. And finally, we got this other article here from Yard Barker. They said, did Giants Joe Schoen give a hint about rumored NFL draft trade? Did Joe Schoen just tip his hand? Huh. New York Giants manager Joe Schoen doesn't seem to be losing sleep over the thought of missing out on a top-tier quarterback prospect, assuming signal callers are selected with each of the first 4 picks in the NFL draft in 2024. Right? People assume we're going quarterback, but we have other needs, Schoen told NFL insider Albert Breer on Sports Illustrated for a piece published Monday. If the quarterbacks go 1 through 4 in the draft order, then we're getting the second best position player, who's not a quarterback, at pick 6, which is okay too. That player will really help us. Absolutely. I mean, if they're drafting a wide receiver, absolutely. Analysts routinely suggest it's practically a guarantee that the Bears will take Caleb Williams with the number 1 pick. The Washington Commanders and New England Patriots are expected to choose from signal callers Drake May and Jaden Daniels, and possibly J.J. McCarthy. As recently as Monday, it was predicted in mock drafts that either the Giants or Vikings could acquire the number 4 pick with the Cardinals with a quarterback in mind. On paper, Minnesota has the advantage as it pertains to an ammunition for such a deal. It was reported shortly after the scouting combine concluded that the Giants were absolutely done with 2023 Week 1 starting quarterback Daniel Jones after Jones struggled this past season before he tore his ACL. Jones has also dealt with a pair of concerning neck-related issues since the fall of 2021. it's now hardly a secret the Giants can escape Jones' contract after this season coming up. There'll be some dead money. They let him go after the season. There'll be some dead, like 21, 22 million or so in dead money next season, but they'd save themselves some money for sure. While speaking with Breer, Shane referenced the fact that Jones played behind some of the awful offensive lines across the first 5 seasons of his career. Per StatMuse, Jones has taken the 3rd most sacks in the NFL, 179 since week 1 of the 2019 campaign. So he's taken the most, and he's also missed a bunch of times. So if Jones played all the games he was supposed to since 2019, I mean, I'm sure this sack total would be well over 200. It was almost embarrassing the way we played on offensive line, Shane said about the 2023 Giants that finished with a 6-11 record. You can't run a play. You really can't get a true feel for Daniel when he's on his back every play. There's definitely a concerted effort to upgrade both fronts. In a mock draft posted on Monday, predicted the Giants will move down from pick 6 to 9th and then use the first-round asset to give Jones a new weapon in Georgia Bulldogs tight end Brock Bowers. Well, the thing is with that, I mean, if they were to do something like that, I don't know. I don't know. Interesting. Is he going to trade back to number 9? All right, okay. But the interesting thing with Bowers, okay, so if they were to trade back right to number 9, right, and take Bowers at number 9, the thing is there, okay, is that you kind of killing like 2 birds with one stone. Actually, you might even be killing like 3 birds with one stone. You're taking Bowers, okay. Now you got yourself a real good threat at tight end. Actually, maybe you're killing 4 birds with one stone, right? So you're getting yourself a receiving threat of a tight end. So Giants won't have if Waddle's gone. Okay, so you're going to get the receiving threat of a tight end who can replace Waller. Now you got maybe yourself almost a dog, right? You're number 1, right? But this class is so loaded with talent at wide receiver. You can take a wide receiver in the 2nd round and get a really good wide receiver. So you could take, if you want to double up, take Bowers at number 9, according to that draft night trade. I don't know why they're trading back to number 9. I mean, the thing is that 11, 12, and 13, those are the quarterback needy teams. I don't know why somebody would want to jump up to the trade with the Giants. Why would somebody want to trade up with the Giants? I don't know. But anyway, I'm saying if the Giants were to take Bowers, right, you can replace Waller, because Waller I'm sure won't be here. If he's here this season, I'm sure he ain't going to be here in 2025. So you're going to we got 355 blocking tight ends. We don't need another one of those. We need a threat, right? A receiving threat of a tight end. You get that with Bowers. You replace Waller. Now you have yourself maybe your dog, your number 1 guy that, maybe that Daniel Jones can throw the ball to, right? But I said, but then in the 2nd round, if you want to double dip and take a wide receiver in the 2nd round, that's quite possible, because there's a lot of good wide receiving talent out here, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. But let's not forget, I mean, just the quarterback position, as I said, Paul Dottino from Big Blue Kickoff Live, he did this. I think there was 21 drafts that he did, okay? He took the drafts from 2000 to 2020, so it was 21 drafts in there. Okay, so in those 21 drafts, he looked at the top 10 picks 11 to 20, and 21 to 30. And what he found out was 55, 44, 33. Okay. You take somebody in the top 10 picks over those 21 drafts from 2000 to 2020. There's 21 drafts. You take somebody in the top 10, 55% chance of them going to the Pro Bowl. Not an all-pro. All-pro would be even better, but a Pro Bowler, right? So you take somebody in the top 10, you're all home. Basically, you're flipping a coin, heads or tails, right? 55% of some, right? You take somebody in from picking 11 to 20, 44% chance going to a Pro Bowl. 21 pick 21 to 30 in the first round of those 21 drafts from 2000 to 2020. Picks 21 to 30 in the first round, 33% chance of going to a Pro Bowl. So just because you take a quarterback and how many, hey, we've seen guys, right? We've seen good guys. Okay, without question, good quarterbacks going to top 10. But I mean, the MVP of the league last season, right? He was picked 32, right? And the Ravens traded up to get that guy, right? So they traded back into the first round. They traded with the Eagles. I guess it was 2018 after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So they traded up and they got, Lamar, right? Lamar Jackson, pick number 32. So just because, you take somebody in the top 10 as a quarterback does not mean you just hit yourself a grand slam. And there's a lot of good guys. I mean, Knicks, Penix, right? I don't know, whatever, Milton, the Rattle Man. There's a lot of guys out there, you can maybe work on, right? Let's also not forget too, right? I mean, maybe be a little bit of a quarterback whisperer, right? They brought in Drew Lock. Maybe, I don't know, just saying, maybe, right? Maybe Dable thinks he can work some magic with Lock. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows? But what we got? We got about 2 weeks to the draft, guys. Gotta love this time of season. All right, guys, been 55 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me, hey, assist my suicide. All right. Good talking to you. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.